Welcome to the Email Marketing Chronicles, where we journey into the world of email marketing and discover the transformation power. Today, we are privileged to host Rui Nunes, renowned leader in the sphere of email marketing. With his success as the founder of SendXmail and Sopley, his influential role as a board member of APPM, and his impactful teaching at University Lusofona, Rui brings a wealth of knowledge to the table. I hope it's going to be super cool. Today, we will talk about email marketing in the restaurant, bars, and pubs industry. So, stay tuned as we embark on this enlightened journey with Rui Nunes. Let the chronicles unfold.
Wow, I love that introduction. So cool.
Okay, so we have prepared like wow,
Many.
six many questions.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
okay, let's start from the beginning. Actually, how the role of email marketing has evolved in this field of business. Let me say um, 10 years, 15 years. Is there more now, all this fancy automation stuff, etc., etc., etc.?
Well, I think it's based on the same evolution that every other industry is going through. So some things are going to be similar, like for instance the automations that we can do right now, or the evolution to use the mobile phone to read emails and so on. From 10 years ago to now, we've discovered obviously that most people are going to read emails by on their mobile, so it's easier for them to access these kind of emails on their side. But not only that, even the ESPs or the mailbox providers have changed how they show their emails. So it's the same evolution for many industries. However, there are some specificities for the restaurants and pubs and so on. On this specific industry, there are some things that are very important for them to the tackle and to change that in their approach to email marketing. Some of them are, for instance, use annotations on emails in order for instance, for the the transactional emails to
Mm-hmm.
send, for instance, the booking for that restaurant, and it's going already with the scheduler, and it's going to connect immediately with the agenda of the client. So in this case, they are going to have like an alert that they are going to add to their mobile or desktop or whatever, that it's going to ping an alert that they have a schedule on the restaurant or the pub or whatever to receive it. And so the evolutions that we are seeing right now for this industry are technological side, but it's also on the strategic the point of view. In this case, for instance, instead of 10 years ago, you send the same email to everyone and saying,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we are the best pub in the region and so on. Now they also need to be the segmented on the database and to personalize the communication in order for the recipient to actually find it useful and relevant for them. So imagine that you are a chain of restaurants. It's not a good thing to send to someone in a different part of the country that you are going to have like a party on a different city. It's not
Mm-hmm.
going to be useful for them. So having this kind of attention or of where people are, or if, for instance, they are in New York at the moment, it's not. very interesting for them to know that you are going to have a dine experience this week or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on the of understanding the community and the audience, and try to pinpoint how you are going to send emails that are going to be relevant for them. So that's the major evolution that I've seen.
Okay. You mentioned those annotations.
Yeah.
Do you see are the businesses using it? Because if probably I didn't see any of them in my mailbox.
Oh, I have seen some of them in my
Okay.
mailbox. For example, Ryanair and other airplane industries, they
Okay.
definitely use it, and some booking for
Yeah.
bars as well.
And
But in Estonia, it's quite rare actually.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's mostly used by not for the restaurants itself, but the marketplaces where they are, like TripAdvisor, or when you are booking Zomato, which is also an app that allows you to book some different restaurants or
Mm-hmm.
pubs or whatever. So they it's like a marketplace in that case, and they showcase a lot of restaurants and so on. So they are much more prone to send these kind of emails already highly structured in a way
Mm-hmm.
that it's going to alert not only they are going to send like an email with the Gmail annotations, which in fact it's something that only works on Gmail accounts, which since most of the users, email users worldwide, they use Gmail accounts. So it's kind of okay, let's do this because there's a vast the proportion of our users that are the potentially using Gmail.
Mm-hmm.
So they are sending this with Gmail annotations, and when they land on the inbox, they already have like the special places. Even the before you open the email, you already are seeing the tag that allows you to add to the calendar or something like that. So it's
Okay.
very useful to send that. Also, another thing that this industry or the marketplaces are doing very good, it's to send the email alerts, like the 15 minutes before or something like that, or on the day they are going to be of the booking. They are
Mm-hmm.
sending an automated email alerting that you are scheduled to have a dining experience today, already with the map on
Mm-hmm.
how to get there and so on. So it's to make our lives easier. So yeah, it's something that I see happening. However, not unfortunately, not so much from the business owners, not the restaurants owners. They haven't invested much on this kind of approach. It's more about the marketplaces, and that's a
Okay.
huge problem that I see for this sector, which is they trust too much on the marketplaces, and now they are going to be dependent on these marketplaces.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I also have one question about how
yeah.
much what has changed. Do you think the content has also changed? Because, for example, in Estonia, if I think about what the restaurants were sending me 10 years ago, then they were basically sending me lunch offers.
Mm-hmm. Or the day menu or the
Yeah.
week menu.
Yes. But lately they are more about like what's new and what's like the thing that why I should go to the restaurant in
Mm-hmm.
the first place. So have you seen the same trend elsewhere as well?
Yeah, for sure. It's worldwide in that aspect, and that's because when you are sending a daily email, for instance, with the daily menus or something like that, eventually people are going to be upset or bored about that, and they are
Mm-hmm.
going to cancel or unsubscribing. So the idea here is to send something that it's always relevant for them. What is relevant? Well, that means that they need to understand their audience and what they are going to find that it's valuable. for them. So it's not daily deals. That may work, for instance, for the fast food companies, like for instance the McDonald's or Burger King or I don't know, the Pizza Hut,
Mm-hmm.
and that's because they are focusing on the deals, or getting the cheapest menu around, or having continuously campaigns. It's almost like the era of Groupon, which they were always sending daily deals and so on. So I've worked for a competitor of Groupon. I was on a startup trying to compete with Groupon in that time. And one of the things that we have seen is that many restaurants were onboarding these kind of platforms and going for the cheapest menu and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But it was almost like a run to the bottom. So in this case, it was okay. I'm not going to be seen like a fine dining or a restaurant that it's going to be valuable for the food. It's going to be about the cheapest price. And the people that are going to be attending these kind of deals are not the ones that are going to price a good meal or and the experience and so on. So this means that the content is going to be changed according to what they want to be seen. So in this case, imagine that you are not like a Michelin star restaurant yet. You might have like a good experience to show, like a restaurant near the beach, around the beach, or something like that, and you have luau's or something like that to engage, or live music. So this kind of experiences, it's what you are going to send, and this means multimedia. It's important. In this
Mm-hmm.
case, it's to send not only text, but invest also on copywriting in a way to try to explain the experience they are going to have, but in a few words, and always auxiliated by videos, for instance, that they can click on and see on the website or YouTube or whatever. And then also some imagery, but not too much that they are going to hurt them on deliverability or or something like that. But yes, the content has changed a lot depending on what the audience is getting more responsive about
Mm-hmm.
this kind of deals. Yeah.
Okay. If we are started to talk about the content, and you mentioned before this segmentation thing.
Yeah.
So okay, this is the simplest that okay, I have the restaurants in this town, that town, and that town. So I send for the area of the first town. Okay, we have in the Friday live music. In the second place, there will be in the Saturday,
Yeah.
and but and if you have like fine dining place and your menu is not extremely long, so just what popped up to my mind that okay, you actually can track what kind of customers eat what kind of a food and send then information, or what do you think, what is more ideas to the segmentation. One was the geographical placement. What else?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can apply. Having said that, 99% of the business owners, in this case restaurants, pubs, and whatever, they are not going to apply this. And that's because um, first, they don't see the value of doing that, because it's a lack of knowledge of what it's going to what I mean is they don't see how this is going to improve their results, but it is a lot. And the ones that understand this are the Michelin stars restaurants. So if you go to I don't know, Gordon Ramsay's restaurant or something like that, you are going to have an experience uh, throughout, not only when you get there, but before that. They know what kind of food you are interested, or the experience that you are interested in, because they have a lot of different restaurants around the world. So you might be interested more in some thing than another.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, what kind of segmentation that I see that it can be very interesting for any business of this area or industry? Well, we start by obviously the location, and to understand location, it's based on it all depends on how people are subscribing. What I mean is, one thing it's when you are collecting email addresses on the restaurant itself. So
Mm-hmm.
this means that they have like an iPad or something like that, and people are there and they subscribe, or they have like a little form or a card or something like that, they can enroll or subscribe immediately. That gives them a complete idea about where the location
Mm-hmm.
really is. The other thing is when you are on a website and they are subscribing, and if you don't have the forms, in this case, separated by the location of the restaurant, then maybe it's only about the geo IP.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not going to be very accurate because of the VPNs and privacy issues and so
Exactly.
on. So it's not going to be that much accurate, but it's a way to at least to understand where the majority of people are on the country, and where it's more um, understandable to send a communication about a restaurant. The other thing that we can segment very well, it's as you said, about the tracking of what people click. So in
Mm-hmm.
this case, if they are clicking on some kind of deals or experiences, for instance, they click on the live music events, but not on the, for instance, the luau's or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. That means they are more interested in that kind of event than the others. The other thing is when they are it needs to be very data centric. What I mean is, for instance, imagine that you are clicking on things that gives you a hint that it's someone married or with a family or something like that. It's something that can also be segmented. In this case, for instance, if they are clicking on the Valentine's Day uh, emails or something like that, or for instance, when you have like a special events or dining experiences with more than one people or one person. So that means that you can cater and create that kind of the communication that
Mm-hmm.
it's going to cater with these people. Let's not forget about a very big um, the part of the business which are the lonely people, or the lonely the people that are going to have some meals or whatever, but by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also something that they can use that information to make some arrangements in the way
Family
they are booking.
lonely already.
Exactly,
Yeah.
or exactly. For instance, maybe the the people that are going just one person or something like that, they can gather th- those people around a balcony or something like that in order to start to exchange conversation and so
Mm-hmm.
on while they are on a meal, and eventually they find friends and so on. So that's one of the things they can do as well when they understand where people are clicking on, and the reservations that are being made. The other thing is when this is more advanced in a way, which is when you have a good CRM and you have beacons on the what I mean it's Bluetooth beacons, which is something that they can analyze where you usually are going to be seated. So, for
Okay.
instance, when you enter the restaurant and you have the app of the restaurant, for instance, you are already connected with the CRM, and they know that you are channel that are going to be it usually likes to be seated at the window and with a
Mm-hmm.
good view and so on. So that's something that you are collecting to the database, and then you are using on the emails, because you are going to send emails showing the window and the view that you are going to have. So it's always catering about what it's important for each person, or in this case segments. But
Mm-hmm.
this only makes sense when you have enough the subscribers. Doing this just to 5 or 10 people, it's not going to be the profitable for the business. However, if you already have um, a good amount of subscribers, it's always good to deliver this kind of experience, not only when they arrive at the restaurant, but also before they see that it's relevant for them. Yeah.
That was
Okay.
really sorry. That was really high tech solution. These beacons.
Yeah.
But I
Hmm.
actually have one really simple question. Is it custom
Yeah.
to have a different business to business client list as well? Because there are many companies who host company events in some restaurants. So do the companies or restaurants and bars have like different lists for business to business clients?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
I'm bringing my business guests to the
Yes.
restaurant, some
Yeah.
business dinner.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't happen a lot, unfortunately, but it's a very good way to approach that. And some restaurants that we've worked with, the chain of restaurants, they already have the protocols signed with some of the big companies like the Capgemini and Stand Young and so on. And so what they do is using that protocol. That means that their employees that are visiting some country like Estonia or something, they are if they have a chain of restaurants, or in this case a restaurant from the chain of they have a protocol. They have special conditions for them.
Mm-hmm.
Not only they have special conditions for them because they are from that the particular company, they already know their preferences, in this case allergies of the food they are going to eat and so on. So it's very important for people that are traveling as a business, from a business the perspective, to have this into account. Otherwise they are going to have like food poisoning and so on, or allergies. They are going to eat something that it's not good for them. So it's a good policy, and many businesses around the world, they have the HR department. They have these kind of concerns, and they have special protocols with chains of restaurants. So it's if you in this case, it's a very good idea in fact, for any restaurant to have this kind of special deals for businesses. And in that case, yes, it's very also interesting to have a B2B list, just for promoting not only the company events, which is very cool, but happens just once in a while, but also when they have like a special menu, they are going to offer like an executive menu or something like that. So in that case, could be interesting for that company on a regular basis to go to that restaurant, because they already know the difference of menus. Because one of the things that people on business or working on buildings and so on, they don't want it's to always eat the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of boring. So what restaurants can do is to change a bit the menu for the executives, and they let them know that they have a special menu today, that it's going to be different from the ones they already have, or whatever. So can be a good management in a way to keep the presence of the same people going over and over again to the same place, because the experience is good. The employees already know the staff, and or the clients, and it's something they can keep attracting the same the clients, instead of always trying to get new ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's much more expensive to go after new ones than to get and make them loyal to the restaurant in a way. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned once already, this was like one of my questions, is the building the list, or getting people to subscribe. If I'm thinking, okay, I have my favorite pub. Yeah, okay, I'm looking probably their menu from their website. Yeah, they have somewhere in the footer, join our newsletter list, and probably never, or if they don't have, like, I don't know, some customer loyalty program, so then no one gonna ask in the pub that how it's going, or maybe you want to join to our loyalty program, leave us some information. So the question is how to build an effective email list. What tactics do you do? Do you have that they will actually give? Because probably if I'm thinking that you're, I can be the loyal customer, but I never left my email address, because actually I didn't even know it that they have this kind of option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I never go to the website. I
Yeah.
just go to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's very common that to happen, and that's the main problem. It's because you don't see the value. So if you don't see the value of getting to to the newsletter, you're not going to try to find it or subscribing to the newsletter. And what I mean by not finding the value, it's that if you want to know about the news about the pub or the events they are going to get, you already have the website, or you are going there anyway. So
Hmm.
because you like the place or whatever. So that means that you need to be creative, and by that I mean you need to do stuff that only the people on the newsletter are going to be able to experience. What I mean, it's like to make it like a VIP
Hmm.
stance. Like, for instance, if you are subscribed to the newsletter, you are going to see that you are going to have an experience that the rest of the people on the bar are not going to have. Like, for instance, a small space between the part that is public and the other one that it's going to be like almost like a VIP room, where
Hmm.
they have like a small live event with some rock stars or whatever they are there, and the rest of the guys or girls that are attending on the pub, they are going to say, hey, I want to go there and listening to that in person.
Hmm.
Oh, but that's only for the ones that are subscribed to our to our premium newsletter. So
Okay.
that's a thing, something that worked for a client of mine a few years ago. It was almost 5 years ago, but it went very well because it created FOMO, fear of missing out. So in this case, they have arranged not only the Thursdays of live music, for instance,
Mhm.
but they also have had some perks. Like, for instance, you could try a special whiskey they were going to provide, but only people within the newsletter that have subscribed, not only subscribed but clicked on the button that showed that, okay, I want to try that. So it was only available for people that have received and clicked on the link to say, okay, I want that whiskey, and so on. So if you keep doing this kind of stuff, that it's going to be interesting. Or, for instance, if they don't want to miss a special Halloween party or something like that, or they want to be always updated about the new events they are going to do, it's important to have that newsletter. Having said that, how we can what are the things that we can do to help people to subscribe? One of the things is to have, like, for instance, an iPad or something like that on the pub where people freely can go there and subscribe and place their email address or information they need. The other thing is to have, like, even normal stuff like QR codes.
Mhm.
So you place QR codes on the on and they just need to go there and scan it, and immediately they are on the form to do that. You can do that on every table, and in every balcony you can have a QR code or something like that. Expose the benefit for them, and to easily make them the subscribe right there and there. And the other thing, it's about the websites and all of the social media they have. So if they already have several channels where people are used to go to understand what is going on, it's always keeping the posting stuff, or placing, like, for instance, an exit intent,
Mhm.
the pop-up, which is not that annoying because you are already leaving the website. So you are leaving with the mouse to close the window, and then the pop-up comes up and shows the benefit for that user to engage. So you need to create value. If you don't have it, then you need to think on how you are going to create that value for them. The other thing is to make their life easier.
Mhm.
So on how to subscribe. So uh, to, to place ourselves on our clients' shoes and try to make their life easier to subscribe, and then to send relevant emails for them to let them know about the stuff they like to receive. Yeah,
Okay, so the exclusivity. If you are in
exactly.
our list, you will get something more that
Yeah.
no one other can get.
Exactly. It's
Okay.
the only thing that today, because as you've mentioned, you are going to pubs that you are loyal, but you don't subscribe to them because you don't see the need for that, and you
Mm-hmm.
are already overcrowded with a lot of newsletters. You don't want one more to the list. So in order to compete with a lot of companies that are doing the same thing, and in this case, you are competing not only with your competitors on bars, you are competing with Zara, you are competing with
Mm-hmm.
the banks, you are competing with the friends of those people because they are sending emails. So you are competing with a lot of attention span that it's shortening at at every second. So this means that you need to always thinking about how you are going to provide value in order for people to really want to receive your newsletter. It's almost like, okay, I have a special privilege here. So, for instance, I've subscribed to a daily email that I almost never use. What I mean is, I see the deals and I close it, but it's a privilege to be there because I can see the special um, airline the tickets on a very lower price in order to travel to everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I receive every day what kind of special offers they have for, I don't know, travel to Alaska or whatever. So it's something that, even though obviously I don't use it every day, I keep receiving it and seeing it until I see something that it matches my expectation. And not
Mm-hmm.
only that, I the agenda or the calendar for doing it. Yeah.
Can you give maybe three good examples of what would be the really good content to send to your customers if you are a bar owner or restaurant owner?
Yeah, for sure. Well, one of the things that it's important for, in this case, if you have an idea of the ones that already attended your restaurant, and the others that haven't, but are interested about restaurant and so on, it's to send information about what they can expect, what it's the venue, pictures of the venue. If you have like an outdoor space, and or not. Sometimes, for instance, when it's on the beach, eventually you have like a part that it's closed and another which is open. But depending on the weather, it can be very hot
Mm-hmm.
outside or something like that. So that kind of information, it's a must-have for the ones that still don't know the place or are interested in going but haven't know the place, and they are scared about what they are going to find, if it's going to meet the expectations or not. So this is a very good way to get rid of the fears that people have. So another type of content that we can send to most of the users, obviously, it's the when you have some changes to the menu that are relevant. Like, for instance, we have now a new chef's menu that are going to be deployed for just a few days. So almost like an FOMO alert, like, okay, this is going to be open, but just for this week,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the the seven plates experience of uh, based on the on Egypt, for instance. So this is something that it's going to create that feeling. Okay, I need to try this before it's going to end, and I'm not going to have that experience. The other thing is when we have special occasions, like, for instance, holidays and so on. So to say in advance, for instance, when it's Christmas, New Year's, and so on, some restaurants they close.
Mm-hmm.
So to understand if this restaurant it's going to be open or not, it's very important. Or even to say, okay, sorry, we are not going to be open on the 1st of January, but we are going to be open on Christmas, for instance, or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Knowing that it's important in order for us to already schedule a booking or something like that, because most of the restaurants are closed and that one is not. And the other thing is when we get frustrated when we are thinking about booking that restaurant for that time and it's going to be closed. So in advance, you are going to let your clients that you are not going to be open for some reason. So getting them to know all of this, and also a very important thing that I can't stress enough for people to do in this case for this industry, it's usually they only communicate when they have like a special event or something like that, which means that sometimes you take almost the 2 months to send something. And that means that you are not you are making your the sender reputation cold, and eventually it's going to also hurt your deliverability. So chances are that when you are going to send the communication, people are going to not see that email because it lands on the spam or on a different filter, and it's going to hurt your deliverability. So the idea is to find relevant and interesting things that you can send on a regular basis, but not every day, but eventually like once a week, to send, for instance, the the testimonials of other clients, like for instance, oh, the bartender was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
John was a sweetheart and have helped me to give this cocktail which was amazing, and so on. So these are the kind of stories that backs up our interest on a place, and we are trying to get the same experience or even better. So could be a good idea for also for on the terms of content to send. So that's what brings me to mind about the best content for this kind of events, or in this case industry. Yeah.
And so you said that the frequency should be more or less once a week.
At least once a week. It all depends on the kind of well, if you have, like for instance, the B2B system where you are sending meals to the office, for instance, which in uh, Portugal, it's very common where I
Okay.
live. I'm from Portugal. So it's very common, for instance, for the people in the office to order out. So and so yeah, they need like a daily email to understand what's the menu for today, and then to schedule that for them. For usual clients, regular clients, not B2B, I would argue that once a week it's the sweet spot, I guess, because it's not something that they are going to forget about you.
Mm-hmm.
So once a week you receive something that it's very important to be relevant. Again, it needs to be valuable, otherwise it's going to also bore people. But if you send something that can illustrate what happened this week and what you are expecting to do the next week, could be a good thing. Or eventually, like we usually do, like you are doing this podcast. So why not doing some kind of thing on the event itself, or the pub, or whatever, like a night with some speakers, or a
Mm-hmm.
comedy show, or something like that. So it all depends on what you are planning in ongoing to present, and then you are going to send like once a week. And now about the day that you are going to send it, it's going to depend on the segment. So if you are catering to families, maybe on the Friday, it's a good idea in order for them already to plan the weekend with the family and kids and so on. Oh, there's a special um, meal that it's a good idea to go to that place or that region where we had a fantastic experience last time, and so it's something that we can enjoy again. So sending this on a regular basis, it's better than just wait the 2 months or 3 months to send
Mm-hmm.
like a special promo. Oh, we are going to have this mega event for businesses or whatever. It doesn't get it because we already have the forgotten about business, and we think it's spam or whatever
Exactly.
it's. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
But as you said, with your this airplane ticket company, that you don't even open the emails, you just look at the subject line and then you just leave it to be. My question is that I would assume many restaurant customers do the similar thing. So how long should you keep one customer in your mailing list if they don't open the emails?
well, now with the privacy issues, like for instance, Apple, it's completely blurring how we can track the openings. So that means that usually they track that someone has opened and never opened an email from us, for instance, or in this case, the blocks from Gmail and Outlook, for instance, by standard, they block the downloading of images, the only way for us to track an opening. So I'm not very fond of the opening rate kind of filter. What I mean is, for instance, even if people haven't opened an email for quite some time, like for instance, the 20 emails that you've sent to them hasn't worked, my the preferred approach, it's the same that Morning Brew usually does. I don't know if you know the newsletter Morning Brew. It's a daily newsletter about it's almost like a millennial view of the New York Times. For
Okay.
instance, it's the financial information, but for millennials. So it's sent once a day. It's a daily newsletter, and what they do when they don't see some reactions or clicks on the newsletter for a few newsletters or sendings, they are placing a special box on the email highlighted and stating that they've noticed that I haven't reacted with their email for quite some time. So they are letting me know that if I don't click on something or something like that, they are going to take me out from the newsletter after X amount of time. So
Okay.
that means that every time that I see that, oh, that means that I haven't reacted actually for the newsletter, but that's because most of the information it's there. What I mean is, I don't need to click on something to know more because it's all short
Mm-hmm.
resume there. I don't need to click, and so I feel still that the newsletter is valuable for me to have like a resume of everything that happened. So what I do is that I click that newsletter. I click that newsletter on anything, like a button on the box or whatever other link, and they keep me on the list. So
Okay.
that's one of the things that we can do in order to make some cleanup of the list. It's to make them understand, okay, if you don't react and if you don't find this valuable, I'm going to remove you from the list. But please do that for one or two newsletters in order to give people time to
Mm-hmm.
understand, okay, I've noticed your notice, so I'm going to click on the button. So that's my take on that cleaning.
I think this
Okay.
is a really good approach,
Yep.
actually. Yeah.
Absolutely
Hmm.
super. So you told that multi actually media channel mix, social media, etc., SMS.
Yeah.
In with your expertise, you have worked with the bars, with the restaurants. What you actually see are are for them the email marketing is so so, and they prefer, I don't know, send the confirmation to your booking through the SMS, and all the other information put to their Instagram or Facebook or TikTok that yeah, we have parties here, parties there. I can show
Yeah.
also the menu in the Facebook, whatever. So what you are seeing.
Yeah. What's happening is that social media and other channels are more the sexy. What
Hmm.
I mean is for the restaurant owner or the pub manager or whatever, there's the starlight effect when you are on an Instagram feed or something like that. Oh, we are on Instagram. My kids have seen that. My family as well. My friends like that feed. So it's the same doesn't happening or doesn't happen with an email. What I mean is, on social media, you are going to see the likes and comments right away, and business owners and these managers that are working with these restaurants, they usually are on their feeds already scrolling and publishing for them on social media. It's much more easier, and they think they can reach their users organically or paying for that. So email marketing, it's never in there. It's never. It's something that it's happening since I've started working with email marketing in '98. So it's it's quite some time. Maybe for the white beard and so on, it shows a bit that I've worked with this for quite some time. But since even the beginning, that email, it's not something that it's very sexy to show up on a report, but it's the thing that sells every time
But how can we
since
make
then.
email
And
sexy again?
Yeah.
yeah, we should be. And AMP for email and Gmail annotations and so on. And even if you notice the recent trend of startups working with email, like Hey, which is a platform from the Basecamp founders. They have like a new AI kind of tool to receive emails. The same with the Superhuman, which is also a tool to use artificial intelligence to filter all of our emails and to find out the best people to receive the copies and so on. Well, a lot of things that have the change, and that's because we've uh, we were coming out from a kind of difficult spot in the recession, and that means that brands needed money, and where they are going to get money from? Email. And that's why they are forced in a way to go after where the money is, and money is on the list every time. So even with social media, you have a high risk of being blocked or even ghosted. What I mean is, for instance, on LinkedIn happens a lot. Yeah, yeah, for instance, you can have a very good profile, or a profile where everyone is engaging, and all of the sudden it seems that nobody is reacting, and that's because you've ended up on a like a blocked section that you are uh, not showing to the your audience. That
Okay.
means that you have a lot of filters, or in this case, organizations that are using arbitrary rules against you. On email, you don't have that. It's all the freedom to send the because it's an universal protocol. You can send an email from an intelligent fridge. The fridge that you have a screen. You can send an email from the fridge or the microwave or something like that, or even from the car. On a Tesla, you can send an email. So it's a completely open protocol which can be free for you to have a direct one-to-one approach with people. So having said that, what I mean by using social media, SMS, and so on for a number of things, it's that you need to cater your communication to each channel.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean, if you are sending what you are usually sending on email by SMS, you are going to be to have very angry clients. Because they are not going to receive several SMSs or whatever with a lot of information. Because SMS, it's very cool for alerts, and for instance, to know to make them aware that they have a booking or something like that. I
Happy
see that
hour.
more as a,
Happy hour.
yeah, exactly. So that's it's more about short-term alerts or reminders, but not so much for delivering content. Content in a way for to create the expectation about going to the venue and so on. The other thing is the social media. You can use social media obviously to keep delivering the experience. It's much more multimedia and so on, but you can't control what's happening around on your feed. So on email, you can do that. So email, it's all about you. It's all about, in this case, it shouldn't be about only about what you want to communicate, but more about the what the client is going to like more. However, you can control the environment. You can have like a special video that you can see a bit of a GIF, the first frames or something like that, and then a button to see outside the email. Or you can have like pictures about the delights of the the menu. But it's also one thing that you can do on social media and so on. It's about delivering segmented communication to each one. That means that when you are sending an email to these people, you are already tailoring the content to each individual, or in this case, with a segment. On social media, even though you can do a campaign with segments and so on, it's different because the social media doesn't have the same knowledge about the client that you have. What I mean is, you have on your CRM or um, the platform that controls everything about the information that you have on the user. You know much more about that user than the social media knows about their interest on your brand. So they know everything about that user on a daily basis, about the interests, about what they click and so on, but they don't know the things they like about your brand, about the menus, what kind of food they like, and so on. So uh, by that, I don't mean to make the one channel better than the other. What I mean is that every channel should work together, or in a congregated strategy, in order for some channels to feed the others.
Mm-hmm.
So you use those channels to feed new subscribers to the newsletter, and you use the newsletter to engage with the other channels. For instance, a lot of YouTube creators are having a lot of the success because every time they publish a new video, they send an email to their list. And so what YouTube sees, it's immediately when they publish a video, a lot of people are going to assist the video or see the video. So that gives a good algorithm impulse or boost in order to see, oh, people like this guy, and they like their content. So every time they publish, new people or more people go to YouTube. So and then they use that the technique to boost their um, organic
Mm-hmm.
spread on YouTube and get more viewers. So this is like every channel working together in order to maximize our way of getting more reach and more eyeballs to see about our brand. Yeah, that's my approach on that.
All right. Let's wrap it up then, starting from the
Mhm.
collecting email. So
Mhm.
be creative and try to make the subscribers that they will feel unique, privileged, or
Mhm.
whatever. Then you probably get
Yeah,
them better to your
yeah,
list.
yeah,
Content and design wise, also be creative. Don't send every day the menu or
yeah,
every week, but
yeah,
be consistent. So don't do that. You will send one in the before, I don't know.
Christmas.
Yeah, the one in the
yeah.
Christmas and the second in the midsummer days.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah,
and
there's a lot of things.
and did you forget? Did I forget something or what?
Yeah, the
Think
pop-ups.
of your customers
In this
first.
case, on the website, what I mean is to use if we want to create a list that it's going to grow every time. The thing is, every time that you send an email, usually you are going to lose someone. So someone is going to unsubscribe and so on. So if you are not keeping growing your list and more people getting in on the list instead of the ones that are leaving, you are going to grow your list. So if you are, in this case, you need to keep pushing every time to grow your list. And by that, uh, you need to use every channel that you have at your disposal. What I mean is social media and other channels that you might have, like website, landing page, even marketplaces, where you are eventually to have some kind of tactic in order to get more people to subscribe to your list or something like that. The other thing, it's using the venue itself.
Mhm,
This is something that nobody can steal from you. It's when people are there. So you must engage in this case to create or to educate your employees, to make them in a very good way, to incentivize the clients to subscribe to the list. By that, sometimes I've seen recently, it's not something that I've worked, but I've experienced that on a restaurant here, where the employees, they get an incentive for every new client that subscribes to the list. So if they subscribe, the employee gets the €2 or something like that. So imagine for each one they attend every day, it's a good money
mhm,
at the end of the day. So they use it almost like, okay, let's keep getting these employees to incentivize that. The other thing, it's about the partnerships. So when you use partnerships, like for instance, clubs, what I mean by clubs, it's those kind of, for instance, a Martin club. So if you have a Martin club or an engineers club or a golfing club or something like that, you can do like a partnership with them and give a special offer for them to go there. And they have the meals and so on. And then the only thing is that they need to register. And by register, you are asking them also as an
mhm,
option, obviously, to subscribe to the list. So this is something that has worked for a restaurant that I know, that it's always full, because they keep doing that. It was for a Martin Club that I went there, and they incentivized. It was a buffet and so on. And then we had the chance to subscribe to the newsletter. And even today, I've received that newsletter and see the events they do and so on. So it's easy for any of these businesses to do this kind of approaches.
Mm-hmm.
So locally, to understand where people are gathering in clubs or even gyms. Imagine for a gym, and you are going to do cocktails, very natural, not alcoholic or
Mm-hmm.
something like
Mm-hmm.
that, but very green and so on. So that's a good idea to bring those people there and to let them know that they also serve green cocktails, or in this case, natural ecological ones, and not only based on alcohol. For a lot of people doesn't like alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
so it could be a good idea to get these people to go and still mingle with other people on a pub, and still enjoying a pub but not drinking alcohol or something like that. So these kind of ideas, it's something that every industry, restaurant or something like that, it can be used to grow their list. Yeah.
These were really good ideas. I
Yeah,
hope that
huge amount of cross marketing. Why
yes,
not?
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But my last question actually is that you have
Mm,
given us so many good ideas already. Now give us
thanks.
one good example of a newsletter we should all sign up to from some bar or restaurant which does their work excellently regarding email marketing.
Well, on restaurant sides, let me see. Yeah, actually, I don't know any newsletter in that kind. Yeah, because it's very local. What I mean, it's not only, for instance, one that I like, it's in Portuguese. So I don't see that many people are going to see that newsletter in a good way, because it's always in Portuguese. But other than that, I don't see larger chains using that in a correct way. Other than, for instance, the big marketplaces like TripAdvisor, Zomato, etc. Those are the ones that are delivering good quality content, just because they are seeing what kind of restaurants we like. So when we click in some kind of restaurants like sushi or Mexican food or whatever, they track that, and then they deliver that kind of personalized experience of other restaurants with the same kind of food that we might be interested in on that, and so on. So that's a good example. The other ones might be the ones that have, for instance, the websites that have authors that do articles about restaurants. So in that case, it's almost like a showcase of the best restaurants to go in Estonia with. About sushi, or
Mm-hmm.
to go on a date, for instance, and then you have like a scroll about all of the restaurants that are highlighted on the article. So those are usually the ones that captivated more these people. And one of the things actually that you can do when you see this kind of article and you are showcased there, it's to also highlight that on your own newsletter, on the restaurant and so on, and to say, oh, we've come up
Mm-hmm.
on the short list of X magazine, so it might be a good idea for you to visit us or something like that. But yeah, I don't have one particular newsletter that I can showcase, because it's not in English or in Estonian, and so on. So yeah.
I have an idea.
So
When we are publishing our podcast in all the channels,
yeah,
let's make a
exactly.
question. Hey guys, put your link here
To
Yeah,
to
the best
what?
restaurants.
Yeah, to the best restaurant
newsletters. Yeah,
newsletters. Yeah, and afterwards we will do an article from this podcast with all those
exactly.
links, and we'll publish it. Yeah,
Beneficial for us too.
yeah,
Yes,
Yeah,
sounds good.
yeah,
And then we can all
yeah, for
go and
sure.
eat in all of those restaurants.
yeah.
So yes.
they're probably sending some extremely fancy from them. I don't know,
delicious food pictures.
from France, from New
Yeah,
York.
yeah,
Really
but
shocked.
one of the things that I've noticed is that the emails that are not that designish or stylish in a way are the ones that work better. What I mean is when you are getting to the chase and you are sending a true um, relationship, or in this case communication between the brand or the owners or the staff, between the that business and the subscribers, work better than the ones that you are just taking very nice pictures and a very beautiful space, because it's almost like Instagram stylish kind of way, and that's already a social media for that. So what people want is real connection. So when you are seeing, for instance, the photo of the chef or something like that, and then they write something back to you, like for instance, I'm the Michelin star Gordon Ramsay, and I'm here to tell you that I especially invite you to go to this restaurant to have a meal with me. I'm going to prepare that with you guys, and so on, that it's going to be much more effective on every single way than just a very graphic design, beautiful to the eyes, but it's not real to the people. I don't know if I could express that
Yeah,
better,
yeah.
but
Yes.
yeah,
But I'd probably never like believe this plain text email with a Gordon Ramsay picture in the corner that he will write me like the
yeah,
personally.
yeah.
I'm
But
probably
the
thinking
funny
that,
thing,
wow, this is some kind of spam.
yeah,
Actually, this was one thing, yeah, that I wanted to ask that, but you already told, and that what you told is like controversially what I thought that, okay, if you are like a restaurant with a absolutely fancy furniture, your food is the state of art, some fine dining fusion kitchen, etc.,
yeah,
then your email has to look also, you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to give all the brand values and all the tone and manner with this email. You can't send that. I it can't be look like I will wrote to you, Rui, that yo dude, it's me, Donald, blah blah blah, and then I skip couple of uh,
Commas and
commas and dots and couple
yeah.
of
No,
letters also.
I totally agree with you that we need to stand with the brand guidelines. What I mean is, it doesn't cut it if you are on a Noma restaurant and you are receiving, for instance, a very simple text-based email with some employee to send something like that. It doesn't cut to the experience.
Hmm.
So that means that every restaurant needs to be consistent about the brand guidelines, how they express. You are not going to have like an experience on the restaurant or the pub or whatever, where you treat people in a way, and then you are sending email that are dealing with people using jargon, or in this case, or using bad words or something like that. So it's not. It needs to be consistent. On the other hand, when you also approximate, or in this case, to make some part of the team to relate one to one with you, it's very engaging. And that happened with Michelin star here in Portugal. He wrote an email. Obviously, it was not only plain text. It was like the color of the brand outside, the logo, and then the footer there. But it was sent by supposedly by the chef. The funny thing is, you could reply, and he would answer
All right.
directly. So it was a Michelin star that was having a conversation with you through email. So that's something. And if you wonder for a restaurant, that doesn't mean a lot of time. What I mean for the chef or whatever, and that's because usually you don't have a very large list. What you have, it's almost I don't know, the 20,000 people, 80,000 people at most,
Mm-hmm.
when you are already for quite some time there. Other than that, it's a very short list. So the chances that people are going to reply to the email are very low. But the ones that do, and you reply back, what happened? You are going to screenshot that and you are going to place on the social media.
And you will have a
And
lifelong
then
touch point.
you are
Yeah.
exactly. So it's going to have a viral effect for someone that it's considered to be almost inaccessible for the most people. They have replied to you. That's the magic of Twitter, for instance, is that you can engage with Elon Musk or whatever the person that you feel it's inaccessible for us. But then they are going to reply, and when they do, you have a shot of dopamine. Like, oh my God, I received a reply from this guy. So this kind of stuff that it can happen on email if you don't use no reply email addresses as
Yeah,
sender.
exactly.
So so when you have this kind of approach, you can one of the things that it can help a lot on deliverability, it's when you ask for feedback.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you ask for them to hit the reply button and so on. So that means that if you keep doing this on a regular basis, like, oh, what do you think about this content? What should be, or the menu? Imagine, oh, I like Mexican food more, or influences from the Asia, or something like that. So if they reply like that, you can also use that almost like a survey, and they see that you are using that and listening to them. So it's much more likely they are going to have that approach. Oh, these guys, they listen to me. I'm not just taking their
Mm-hmm.
communication on my side. So that's what I mean when we have this real communication between brands. Not only, okay, let's send them beautiful emails, but when I hit reply, it's a no reply
Yeah.
address, or or nobody receives or replies back to me. Doesn't get it. So yeah. Yeah.
All right. We run out of questions.
Although I think we
Cool.
could talk about this topic for days and days.
Yeah.
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 But huge
We
thank
can have a second one if you want. No
Why
problem.
not?
Yeah.
So thank you, Rui. And I hope everybody will get,
Some good ideas at least.
yeah,
Yeah.
because there was like absolutely excellent
Thank you
ideas
so
that
much.
probably we will talk with our clients also, that
Yes.
this is actually so
Cool.
simple and you can use it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that most of the successful tactics on email marketing are very simple.
Mhm.
Yet, what happens is that the people think they are so simple, so they don't use it because they seem, oh, this is not going to have a huge effect, but it is just a simple action, but action symbol on a CTA, for instance, has a huge impact on the conversion level. I've tried that on a client, not a restaurant one, but an e-commerce one, and they have earned 2.8 million pounds just for placing an action button on the autoresponders email.
Now
Okay.
So
everybody will do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
imagine the value that you can do just by placing a simple thing like an action button. So these simple ideas, if they apply it, they start seeing some results coming in.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
See you
for
next time.
inviting me. It was a pleasure. Bye bye.
Ciao.